Here she is, boys. Girls, ladies, witches. I built my pirate gun. She's a beauty, ain't she? Look at that. Safety. Put your safety off. And then she's ready to blast you. Blast you right in the head, you scallywag. Complete with a plasma chamber, relay, slow fire delay, wiring, safety, trigger release, and fuse. Arr. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't she beautiful? Look at that thing. You can make one too, if you dare. Oh, zapping, got it. Darn.
Well, I decided I need a pirate gun for my Comic-Con outfit. So I kind of was sketching around on this pad the other day and made this real sloppy little idea. Found an old piece of junk wood in the backyard, and I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to make the end off PVC pipe and copper wrap it, and get creative with some metal and rasps and sanders, and I'll show you how it develops. The things you will need to make your homemade space age pirate gun is a basic sketch with your pencil, 1/2 inch PVC pipe, a rasp, a 7/8 hole drill, a small drill to make your center hole, and let's get started. Believe me, if I can do this, anybody can do this. Just an old piece of scrap wood, a jigsaw. First part, I gotta drill a hole there. And then I gotta start shaping it with rasp. I'm gonna put it in the vise. I'm gonna make a barrel out of 1/2 inch PVC pipe. I need to drill a hole. This will go in there. Get the pipe hot and expand the end. These things are great. Just got to find one that fits my PVC pipe pretty good. All right, let's drill a center hole. Oops. I decided to go with a 7/8 drill, and gonna set it in there and see how straight that looks. It looks okay to me. Gonna pick up my pipe, see if I think it's gonna fit in there. Yeah, looks like it'll fit in there with little room to spare. I'm gonna epoxy that in there with the rasp. This should go pretty quick. Look at that. Take that wood away. Cut a little cross stitch in here. So I'm going to just keep plugging away at it with the rasp. Try to get. So if you guys got routers or bandsaws or fancy equipment, fancy wood, you can probably do a much nicer job. And then we just sand and sand and sand and sand. Keep working. And you guys get the picture. So I've been working on that for about 15 minutes, sanding. I want to make sure the top of my gun where the barrel goes is level, and then I'll level the barrel to that, or square it. You'll need to find something that you can wedge into the end of your PVC while it's hot to spread it out and give it that fluted look. I'm going to be using this heat shrink gun, but you could probably get away with a hair dryer or even a torch. Alright, this has not been so easy, but I am getting a little bit of a flare there. Alright, I managed to get a little bit of flare. Cut it to a desired length. Mix up some epoxy. I am going to make some little wedges to stick in there. Hold it where I want it. Cut those off later. Now just work with the epoxy on your wedges, whatever it is you need to do. There's no science to this. I've never done this before. Get that barrel where it's aesthetically pleasing. Look straight. I just checked my epoxy. It is 5-minute epoxy. So just remember, get an idea in your head, make a sketch, and then draw that out on a block of scrap wood from around the yard. I think it really starts with your piece of paper and your pencil. You sit down and you think about, what can I build with stuff laying around the house? And then, how do I want it to look? Like in this, I'm going to do a pirate thing, kind of a space pirate thing. So it's got to have the pirate handle. It's going to convert into something that looks electronic. I find it amazing how something so simple can slowly develop into a beautiful piece of art. And I was just looking through a drawer of old PVC fittings and found this thing, and I thought, what, you know, if that was black and it had wire wrapped around it, it could become a part of the contraption here. Started sanding the wood filler where the barrel goes in, and gonna get that nice and smooth and sand this block, and then I'm gonna mask off the handle, and I'm gonna throw some primer on there, probably a few coats of primer, and then sand that before I paint it black. At this point I masked off the handle, and I'm gonna spray paint it with this gray Rust-Oleum, because it's got primer in it. That's all I have. I found some copper wire. I think it's electrical motor winding wire. Got from a friend at an electrical shop. And I'm going to wind this bottom piece for the gun with copper, because I think that's going to look sciencey. just hang on to it and wrap it around. I'm going to leave 2 wires sticking out, which I'm going to insert into the box part on the gun. I'm having a little trouble keeping it from unraveling, so put a little piece of heat shrink on the ends. And I'm gonna shrink that down nice and tight. To say the least, that was a pain in the butt. I put a little hole in there, and I got that wire in there, and I super glued it. Put a little more on there. Put some super glue and strategically in a couple of places where I don't want it to slip. I'm gonna shoot some more black paint. So I did that. I drilled a hole in there and put a screw in there, and then I turned that short piece upside down and put some 5-minute epoxy in it. And over on this side I had drilled a little hole. You kind of can't see it, where the 2 ends of the wire tuck in to keep it from unraveling. And I turned it upside down and put it over that screw and held it for a while till it started to set up and gel, and then I forced it around a little bit to get it as square as I could. And right now I've just been kind of pushing it around and making sure it's straight. Well, this is as far as I am so far. I got this old busted boat or whatever 12-volt power supply, and I thought I might glue it on top. What was I thinking? What the heck is this thing? But what am I gonna do next? It's like, what if I took those legs off that little relay, and that little relay was right off the end? I guess anything goes, so I sawed off and sanded the legs off of this burnt relay. Let's put a red line around it, make the back red. Always scuff up your plastics a little bit where you want the paint to stick. Well, initially thought I'd put it there, but actually I think that's gonna look a lot better. And over here I got a little forge, and I'm heating up that metal and pounding hammer tracks in it. But you can do it with one of these propane burner. This is going to be my trigger guard. Been working it in a little jig I made. Get it hot, bend it. You don't even have to get it hot. You can just beat on this cold. Or you can go to the hardware store and find a piece of metal and just bend it around something and make the bends. And this is going to be my trigger. I'm not going to paint the trigger, I'm just going to hot wax it. Okay, this is my trigger guard. And I've cleaned it up a little bit. I just got to get holes drilled in it. Clean those holes up a little bit with a tapered bit. I want to drill my hole for where I'm going to put the trigger down in that black spot. kind of come back, so the hole's got to go at a bit of an angle. Look at my workbench, it's such a mess. Anyways, I got to get that trigger in there. I'm going to glue it right there, and then I'm going to glue and put some decorative brads on that. Isn't that looking cool there? Yeah. I am using a marine grade epoxy for most of my gluing. I need to put this down a little heavy because I made that hole a little wide. Alright, so I got the trigger in there, I got this guard on there. Now I got to put a clamp on this top end, let that set up because it's kind of wanting to pull away. I burnt the word Thor in there in the Elder Futhark runes. This is where we're at so far. It says Thor. Get the igniter hammer. It says Odin. Got the finger guard and trigger. Relays on the front switch, power switch is on top. Now I gotta add some bling. Cut some leather and put it on the side there with some brads. Put this leather on here and run a couple little wires up. You know what? We can get carried away and just go way too far here. I think these last two wires, they're going to go in those holes. And I think this guy's done.